Welcome, everybody, to the second of a series of webinars that we're doing with our friends at AIA Vietnam. Today's other partner is KPMG. The topic of today's webinar, it's about shaping the future in the digital age. We'll be focusing exclusively on the customer experience and journey. So we've got Wanda Briton. She's the Chief Customer Officer of AIA Vietnam. Very large company, a very influential insurance company around the globe, but here in Vietnam especially. We're going to be hearing from Wanda first. She's going to be presenting about how her team at AIA Vietnam and the organization leads change for the customer experience in the digital age.
For AIA Vietnam, we are passionate about the customer, and that's really around having personalized experiences and propositions for our customers, and really heading our customers towards healthier, longer, better lives. Our strategy, what we call our Ascend 200 strategy, is one of the pillars, is the leading customer experience pillar. And the focus for us around customer experience is really shifting from a payer to a partner with our customers. We have, in more recent times, organised ourselves around the customer journey to really have our teams focused on those interactions with customers rather than what would have been a traditional operations, processing a piece of paper and making sure we got the payment out the door quickly. We really want to bring the customer to the heart of it. And so how we can do that, products are the same generally across organisations, and price is really relative, but it's the experience that can make a difference for a customer. Part of it, the heart of what we want to do is be able to provide really distinctive and personalised experiences. And so we've embarked on that, and we're very clear now what we want our future state customer experience to look like. So we know in Vietnam we've got this really rising, rapidly growing mass affluent consumers. We know also we've got an aging population here in Vietnam. And we know also that there is a desire for digitization, and customers, both in the insurance industry, are expecting the same experience, digital experiences they get from other organizations or other services that they have. For us, it's really about how do we bring that forward and fast? But as you know, it's that takes time. And so our key focus initially was setting those foundations, making sure we truly understood what the customer wanted first. And we're going through at the moment with our technology capability to build the right technology to support the digitization and the automations.
Wanda, I know life insurance has traditionally been through agents and a lot of in-person. You look at AIA Vietnam, some of the innovations have included Nest by AIA. I know that's one big innovation, but that's in person as well. I'd love to hear what the customer experience in Vietnam looks like in the future.
For us, the innovation really over the last sort of 12 months and coming into the next 5 years is really about how do we provide a digitized service for a customer that is simple and fast and really easy, but still maintain that human contact with them through those moments that matter. For our distribution and our agency partnership, how do we make their life easier, but also provide them with the tools to service their customer? For us here in AIA Vietnam, we have also over the last kind of 6 or 8 months really moved forward with our automation and what we call straight-through processing. When a customer is in generally their most distressing, high-pressured state, and so you just want to make it simple, but make the customer also feel like you're there for them and you know them. And so we've implemented an online claims tool, and payments are made to customers within minutes of their claim. So that has been a major shift from the traditional life insurance, make an insurance claim that can take weeks and lots of paperwork to be filled out.
Phúc, who's the head of customer and operations at KPMG Vietnam. I understand KPMG and AIA work bilaterally quite a bit on this topic of enhancing the customer experience during the digital age. KPMG being, I believe, the advisory implementation partner here. Phúc, would love to hear from you, and I believe you have a presentation to share as well about this topic.
What are leading customer experience companies doing? First of all, they always have a customer experience strategy. So this means that they really outline what is the purpose of the company, what does it really mean, how do you as a company connect with your customers, and what does it mean to deliver a good experience. If I look back with the project that we're doing with AIA, for example, there's a very clear customer strategy in place as well. All the AIA member firms have to deliver. And then this is also very easy for us because what we then do is really designing based on that guidance. Another thing that leading companies do is they manage journeys, make sure they understand end-to-end. And for each of the journey within the end-to-end journey, if you break it down in smaller components, they really understand what is the journey that they want to deliver, what is the experience in each journey what they want to deliver. That's how you can really manage the customer experience in a better way and make sure that you deliver the value where it is needed. But also managing the version control of the journeys, because the journeys is something that will change over time. You will get feedback from your customers. You need to change, you need to tweak the journeys, how you manage the journeys, how you manage the versions, and how you make sure that everybody complies to that journey. It's also about putting in and really think of what is the experience design process that you want to deliver in the future. So you really need to think of what is the experience that you want to provide to your customers in the end, and how you deliver that experience, and what is the role of technology that plays into that future state, but also what are the people, what are the capabilities of the people that you need to that they need to deliver. Then the role of agile becomes very important, because you don't want to wait too long when you design, you want to implement quickly. But you need to think of minimum viable products as well, to really test before you launch things. Throughout the whole management of customer experience, you need to measure. You need to keep measuring and get input from your customers. You get to get feedback from your customers, and based on that feedback, you tweak.
And lastly, we have Daisy Huang, who's going to be joining us for the panel discussion. She's the Senior Vice President of Sales and Success at Katalon. For those of you that don't know Katalon, it's a SaaS company specialized in web developer tools. You'll soon hear from her and her fiery spirit when it comes to sales and success in the SaaS business. SaaS, if you don't know what that stands for, is software as a service. In the context of life insurance, the digital age, it's a hybrid format. You have in-person, you have online, you have a little bit of both. SaaS is a little bit different since Katalon, you are based in Vietnam. I'm guessing a lot of your customers are not in Vietnam. How do you run sales teams remotely, servicing clients remotely? How does that work? And do client visits matter today? How do you guys approach that customer journey?
It's so funny that you brought up this question, Hao, because my whole professional career, I've done virtual selling. I'd actually very little time does in person. The reason for it is when you're based in Vietnam, you have a global reach, you have to rely on virtual selling, 95% of the time. And obviously it was a trend up until, COVID. And I think it's really exploded during COVID. And I think that everything in person is in some ways, irreplaceable. You still need those kind of high touch interactions with clients, even in a company like Katalon, where we're based in Vietnam, in Atlanta, but with a global reach of 160 plus countries. And what are the two moments that matter for companies that's doing virtual selling and global selling like Katalon? I think of two scenarios. Number one is what we call quarterly business review. So it's just, every quarter, end of quarter, you get your CEO on board, you get your CTO on board, and you meet with perhaps the top 5 to top 10 customers globally. So that could be, a lot of our customers are based in the US. So during these time, right, you are also meeting with the decision makers, with the champion that you have been speaking to, and you really talk about, what has been the experience so far, what has been the adoption, the value, the ROI that they're seeing from the product and the services. And then from that look, what we would also want to do is to collect unstructured feedback, right, on how we could do better as a company. So I think that's number one is quarterly business review. It's being mapped to the moments that matter. I think that the second piece, and this is what we call proof of concept, right? So these are the pre-sales moments where you have to talk to clients, then demonstrate a successful instance of how our platform or our solutions could work in their environment, right? And this is how enterprises buy today, making sure that you spoke about the larger investments, and a lot of this goes from security review and procurement, etc. But a lot of the time it's also on technical validation as well. So these are ones where we have our solutions team on site, where we have our customers team on site to make sure that we can validate and making sure that clients get to value as soon as possible. and really expedite the sales buying process.
When I do sales, I like to see how people like use their body language, for instance, as a huge sign in terms of positivity or negativity in regards to closing the deal, getting the customer to sign and be happy, right? But remotely, you don't see any of those things. So what are some ways to motivate the customer to make those buying decisions?
One thing that we have noticed a lot in the last few years is people are doing a lot more discovery before they even talk to a salesperson in the sales buying journey, right? And what it means is that the roles of salespeople today are being pushed later in the sales process. I think there has to be a lot more investment that it puts into the discovery phase, right? So things like marketing, making sure that there's connectivity between marketing and sales is extremely important. For software like us, right, this whole movement of free trials, meaning that people can try the product before they buy, extremely important as well. And we spoke about automation, right? So at Katalon, self-service is a big part of our revenue channel where people, they try out the product for 1 month, they like what they see, and then they go directly on our website and they purchase the product, all without any single involvement from any salesperson. So at Katalon, we make sure that areas like customer references, case studies, technical documents, free trials, etc., are being done and being available as part of the prospect's discovery before they decide to buy or before they decide to engage with the sales team. When the actual sales process happens in a virtual selling mode, when you turn on your camera as a salesperson and vice versa, the prospects do so, deals are 127% more likely to close when a video is used during any point in the sales process. So what we do is we encourage reps and we encourage customer success to really have their camera on as part of establishing rapport. What I also do is encourage people to really spend not long, but maybe 5-7 minutes at the beginning to introduce themselves, talk about where they're based, even talk about things like football or weather, whatever that might be, to establish that conversations and really open up. Because for sales, it's all about discovery, right? How do we encourage people to open up and share their pain points and their challenges, and how do you tailor your solutions to that, which is extremely important.
Next question for Phúc. What are some first signs that a company needs to innovate from its current system, needs to look at digital transformation?
One of the signs is if you cannot achieve automation easily and you see that there's a lot of, because of all the legacy systems that you have, there's a lot of manual interactions that impacts the way how you operate becomes very inefficient. That is the moment where you think you need to change. And also, if you need to scale up, but you cannot scale up anymore because of the way you operate, you really need to look at different ways how to do things to scale up better. The insurance market in Vietnam, there's a lot of things that they do are manual, and that has to change if you want to scale up, if you want to tap into the market and really grow bigger, then you cannot operate the way you operate. You need to think about digital transformation. There are a lot of industries still behind that curve. There's still a lot of room for improvement in every industry.
That concludes today's webinar, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your last hour or so with these fantastic experts. Look out for the next webinar with our friends at AIA. I think we have one more or maybe more to come, I'm sure, next year. Phúc, Wanda, Daisy, thank you for your time. And we hope to have you on Vietcetera, whatever channel and program it might be in the future.